swap, essentially sliding back one. So interesting that all these clubs want to hold on to their picks. They know how good this first round is, and they're not really taking many phone calls.
With pick 21, Richmond select Luke Trainer from the Sandy Dragons and St Peters Football Club.
These reactions are absolutely the highlight of draft night. They really capture the euphoric nature of the friends and family and that special magical moment when a player is drafted. Luke is absolutely pumped to be headed to the Richmond Football Club, surrounded by family and friends there. Pick 21 in the draft. Shifter, an intercepting defender who can turn defence into attack.
Wow. He's bred in the purple, I call it. He's the grandson of Doug Wade, the champion goal kicker, one of the greatest of all time. And on the other side, Tony Trainer, his other grandfather was president of North Melbourne, so footy right in his blood. Loved the way he's played, particularly early this year. Won the medal for Australia's best player when they played against VFL opponents in Coburg at the start of the year. And he was playing the intercepting defender's role. 194 with pace. He missed the grand final at the end of the year, had some issues with the shoulder, but this boy, his kicking is quite elite. I think he'll probably play in the third tall forward, that type of role. He's got the ability to drop off, and wonderful to see him get his opportunity, Luke Trainer.
Luke, how are you doing right now? You are a Richmond Football Club player.
So many emotions. It's been a long year, but go with a lot of my mates, Sammy, Josh, Taj, and Jonty. I'm over the moon. And up the Tigers.
You sound really emotional, mate. How are you feeling? Is it a bit overwhelming?
I think each pick, the clock gets a bit longer, but to get over and done with, best feeling, something I'll never forget.
Congratulations, Luke. It is a special night. Enjoy it. Just talk us through your year. I mean, you started off really well. There's a lot of talk that maybe you're even top 10, top 15 potential. You had some injury struggles. Just talk us through the year and how you've seen it.
Oh, look, I don't really try and buy into a lot of the stuff. I think you just got to take it each week and each program at a time. But whatever pick you go, it doesn't matter that on the Monday, I don't care. So, as long as the end goal, and I'm only just getting started, so I can't wait.
Congratulations, Luke. You come from a wonderful footballing family, your grandparents, etc. Tell us a little bit about who's there tonight and your roots back to the game.
Yeah, so I got all my family and friends, even the great man Doug, Poppy. So I think he has me on goals for now. But all the friends and family and so much support, and they mean the world to me. So just so emotional right now.
Doug, how proud are you of Luke right now in this moment? I mean, you've achieved so much, but it must be pretty special to see your grandson do it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. He's put a lot of work in. And his parents too.
Shout out to all my coaches and giving me every chance, and unbelievable.
Luke, I don't think you're going to sleep tonight. This has been big, yeah?
I don't think I'll sleep for a couple of days, to be honest.
Well, then I'm sure you'll sleep over pre-season, because that's going to be tough. I'm sure they'll be working you hard at Tigerland. Congratulations. Enjoy the moment. This is such a special moment for you and your family, and well done.
Thanks a lot, Fox Crew, and go to Tigers!
It's heartwarming, isn't it?
Great scenes. And from the Tigers, they get to balance out their list. Shifter, we spoke about it. They've got so many different options. They took the mids, they got their tall forward thereafter, and now they get their defender that they want as well. So I think they've done a really nice job, Richmond. They've got the balance there, and they're all going to get the training together, and they're all going to be pretty excited, and hopefully they can propel the club forward pretty quickly.
So we saw in the really good draft, the super draft, a group of players go through together, and how important that is. I mean, we've seen different dynasties built on that. Geelong had a group that all went through together. Hawthorn with Buddy and Geordie and Ruffy all went through together. So for this Richmond group to have all that top end talent together.
With pick 22, the Sydney Swans select Jesse Detoli from the Northern Knights and the Ivanhoe Junior Football Club.
Either Jesse was very confident or very prepared because he had a Sydney Swan scarf on. Well done, Jesse Detoli.
Unless he's got 5 different scarves and they've just been putting it on each one. But no, congratulations to Jesse. He's a small forward. Shifty will touch on him. But I think an area that Sydney needed to address, so Tom Papley's been doing such a great job for so long. They probably need a little bit more support in that forward half of the ground. And this guy's got plenty of talent, plenty of tricks as a small forward.
He plays taller than the 179 he measures at. A terrific mark one-on-one that adds to his skill set. Super competitive, though. He can get into the midfield and win contested footy. He's an elite kick. Look at the poise on him there, right and left. You back him in with set shots, so he's been taught the fundamentals very well. His dad's been a coach in these sports over a long period of time. Kerry Grammer links there. This boy's also been a boxer as a young fella. A competitor that's had a couple of fights too at 14, 15 years of age, and but adds that to his routine and the way he trains and prepares.
Yeah, I think pound for pound, he was one of the best in the draft, Jesse Detoli. I know some pundits had him just outside of 20, which is where he's fallen, but gee whiz, he could have also been a lot higher. It's his bounce in traffic, his vision. He's just got genuine wow factor, this kid, and I think he's a significant selection for the Sydney Swans. If you can go up there and learn from one of the best in Tom Papley, geez, you're going to have a bright future. So very, very high footy IQ too. So he's a smart footballer, and the way he sees the game, he's going to be very, very exciting to watch over the coming years.
Big moment player, and Benny Waterworth, who's done the Phantom Draft for foxfooty.com.au and done an amazing job in comparing them to all the current day players that we know. Toby Green is the one that he's compared him to.
Yeah, and that's because of his size, but his ability to win one-on-ones and mark the ball overhead. And then the footy IQ. I mean, we all laud Toby Green for how smart he is and the way that he can create. This is what young Jesse Detoli can do. So, Sydney Swans will be hoping to be able to play footy pretty quickly in that team.
Brilliant. A great selection for the Sydney Swans. Talented, competitive, and marking well overhead, so important.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And he brings a different dynamic to that forward line, doesn't he? We've seen Isaac Heaney play down there and play that role of having to play a little bit taller himself. They'll be hoping someone like Jesse Detoli can be fast-tracked into the AFL and potentially release someone like Isaac Heaney into the midfield.
All right, so we've got Richmond again at pick number 23. They are on the clock at the moment. Who's left on the board do we think that they should be targeting at this point, given what they've already picked up?
I wonder, Shifter, whether one of the other tall forwards. I know they've taken one, but gee whiz, if you take two, you can get your Curnow, Mackay, very well Kaczynski going back to my year, because Armstrong and Shanahan are both really highly touted and really talented key forwards. So if they can pair one of them up with Jonty Fall, Shanahan's got the ability to play as a key defender if they need, but I think their defensive stocks, their tools with Gibcus and Bolter are pretty solid. So I think they're wondering that right now, or maybe they're fielding some phone calls because there might be some clubs that wouldn't have expected Armstrong or Shanahan in particular, and even Jack Whitlock to be here this late, Shifter, and maybe this is where they start thinking about banking a future first rounder next year and allowing another club to jump in.
Gee, I like the look of the Fox rankings there. There's some good players on that board still. You can't afford not to take one of those tall players. I
think so. I think got to take another tall.
Yep. And who's to know that they mightn't play in other spots? You know, Shanahan's quite capable of playing back as well as forward. The Whitlock boys the same, very versatile.
I think they'd be stoked with Harry Armstrong still on the board at pick 23, wouldn't they? When you're starting to build a list. Absolutely, Sarah.
With pick 23, Richmond select Harry Armstrong from the Sandy Dragons and the Ormond Junior Football Club.
To present the jumper for Richmond, please welcome Dylan Grimes.
So another Tiger, Harry Armstrong. Armstrong, key forward, the leading tall key forward in the pack, kicked 27 goals from 10 games for Sandringham en route to their premiership win, Shifter.
I noticed Matty Lloyd there giving him a hug. We mentioned him off the top of the show with his influence on him at college there at Harvey College. This is the boy that is 195 centimetre, one of the best contested marks we've seen in the pool, and a thumping long left foot kick. He kicked 69 goals for the year when he had his school stuff with all these club and then representative footy, including 5 in that big game, Vic Metro, Vic Country, 4 in the grand final. He's a steal at 23. I can't believe he's still there, Ben. That just shows the depth of that top 20 or so.
Yeah, you touched on it, Shifter. For mine, it's his range from outside 50. I mean, that's AFL-like already. When you've got the capacity to light him up from there, I think he's going to make a lot of defenders very, very nervous. The other thing I really liked about him was the defenders only got to look away for a second and get caught ball watching, and he's gone. He's heading forward. He can slip out the back. So he's going to make some opposition players very, very nervous.
And he's different to Jonty Fall. He's more of an athlete that plays close to the goal. He's that genuine full forward, almost like a Jai Amos style, where he gets really good separation and can hit the scoreboard. So they've managed to be able to pull it off, Richmond, and get 2 key forwards that are going to be hopefully pillars for a long, long time.
Another key forward that's under the tutelage of Matty Lloyd, the former Essendon goal-kicking champion, who's having a big role with these young men. So let's head back to Ben Dixon. Dicko, you've got Harry with you.
Harry, long wait, but the family's pretty excited sitting here. But you've had such a stellar year, 27 goals in 10 games, Sandy, and most goals in the carnival. Great reward, isn't it, to finally get drafted?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Feel amazing, to be honest.
And Matty Lloyd sitting behind me, Haileybury, we mentioned 3 years of coaching. You shouldn't miss a set shot if you got Lloydie as a coach.
I think over the last 2 years, it's gone from a weakness to a strength because of him. So yeah.
And I've noticed you like to crash a few packs. Throw a knee in the back, and that's all the stuff that Lloydie hated as a forward. Getting hit in the back with the knees and all that. You brought that into your game. Who's giving you that?
Lloydie.
What about you like water skiing? When you sign an AFL contract, you can't water ski anymore. Is that going to hurt you?
Not too much, to be honest.
Can you barefoot?
No, but I want to try, but probably can't anymore.
No, I don't think Uz is going to let you do that. Is Mum around here at the moment, or she ducked off? There she is. Emily, over here. Come over here. I want to quickly... Mum just had the arms up the whole time. You were just like all the way to the stage and back. You had them up. Tell us how that feels.
I can't speak. It's so amazing. It's been a long day. It's been really nerve-wracking and stuff. But Harry, you're amazing. You made it. You did it. And you're still with Taj.
And you get spoiled, at home, I'm sure, because you want him to do everything. But does he pull his weight at home? Does he do something?
He sure does. When he needs to, he does. He's good. He's a good kid.
Geez, you're a good liar, aren't you? Does he cook?
Yes, he can cook.
What's his specialty dish?
Oh, he's pretty good at steak and stir-fry and poached eggs. He's amazing.
You've trained him well. Congratulations, Mum.
Thank you.
Harry, she's pretty excited. I want to let you go and enjoy this with the family, but tell us, did you know it was Richmond a long way out?
No, I didn't really have a clue coming in, but pretty grateful for Richmond. Know a few other boys drafted, so can't wait.
Special night. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
An impressive young man, Harry Armstrong. Congratulations. Headed to Tigerland. Richmond, of course, having a dominant hand tonight with 8 selections across this first round of selection. And then we can see Matthew Lloyd there. A big hug for the coach, and he's done a good job.
Yeah, I don't know who the night was more about. Joey, was it about Lloydie, or he was signing autographs and taking selfies and all sorts? But you can't imagine the impact that it has on these young kids to be surrounded by one of the greatest goal kickers of all time, not just on field but also off field. And Lloydie was someone that carried himself very, very well and has done even since his footy's finished. So a huge gift for Harry Armstrong to spend time alongside him.
Yeah, but on the flip side, it just shows what it means to all the people around these young men that have been coaches at junior level, that have seen their development and what it means for them. So Matthew Lloyd is one of those. And as we said, Richmond hopefully have got themselves a beauty. We see the Giants at 24 now. Just wonder whether there are some phone calls coming through with GWS. We know North Melbourne have been talked about as wanting to get back into this draft. There are a couple of talls on the board still, the Whitlock boys and Shanahan. Are they interested? Are the Giants interested in trading out, or do they want to take another pick late in this first round? Looks like they're going to take a pick.
So we look to head back to the GWS Giants as they continue to build their list and try and take another step towards their first premiership. Their coach there on screen.
With pick 24, GWS select Cody Ango from Claremont and Scarborough Junior Football Club.
This one is a real surprise, a real bolter tonight. Working extremely hard, the WA player. A bit of run and carry, Nick.
Yeah, I feel like we say this about just about every GWS pick in the last couple of years, but he is a genuine bolter, a midfielder that hits the scoreboard really, really well. I had a game late in the year against East Perth that I saw where he had 18 and kicked 4 and probably put a real genuine stamp on the minds of the GWS recruiting staff. He's got a beautiful step through traffic. Good tank. He runs a 6-minute, 28 2-kilometre time trial, and he's the goal kicking mids are rare and worth their weight in gold. But he's not one that I expected to be called out as early as this. That's for sure.
Yeah, he had an interrupted start to the year, but still played all of their 4 games at national level. His kicking's elite. Yeah, just a beautiful, smooth mover that hits targets. Not racking them up with huge numbers at the minute, but you can see the class written all over him. Ended up playing in a premiership side there with Claremont too at under 18 level. So as the year's gone on, you've seen the benefit of continuity in his game. You can see that class when he played in the Nationals. He played well against Vic Country in one of those games. So he's one of those to keep an eye on. A bit of a surprise first night, but not surprised he's been drafted.
Yeah, again, it's like the Giants just going for specific types. They've had years where they've just gone top-end talent, taken the best players. Now they're going for the specific type. These half-forwards, again, that have got high skill and can get up the ground and hit targets inside 50. They're loading up with them. It's going to be fascinating to see how they sort of look at their list profile and where they all fit them into the side. But maybe they just feel they just can't get enough of them, and he's another one who's got elite kicking.
All right, we turn our attention to the Sydney Swans, who have pick 25. We're starting to inch closer to the end of the first round. We have Sydney and then Richmond to come unless someone can trade back into it, but that should conclude round 1 and night 1 of the draft. Of course, it continues tomorrow here on Fox Footy. We'll kick off our coverage tomorrow from 7 p.m. So for all the players that miss out tonight, they've got a really, really nervous night ahead and hope that they still get drafted. Of course, the rookie draft to come, but the Sydney Swans here at pick 25.
Yeah, and Joey, we spoke a little bit pre-show, didn't we, about Sydney's need for a key defender. So you wonder whether someone like Matt Whitlock that's still sitting on the board, we know he can play both ends of the ground, but geez, they could do with a tall defender, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's where it feels like that they need to continue to look at, even as another key forward. I mean, we saw that the key forwards they've got are young and still working through their talent and what they can do. But Whitlock, as you said, Matt's the one that can play both in the grounds that might appeal. Or there might be some clubs making some phone calls now that want to jump in and land a key forward. There's been a talk with Collingwood potentially wanting a key forward, or North Melbourne as well. So maybe the Sydney Swans are just waiting to see if any other clubs want to jump in, or they're discussing what type of player they need. See Dean Cox there, assistant coach. He's been heavily involved in the recruiting element of with the Sydney Swans this year. He's taking a bit of a hands-on approach, and you can see him there pretty vocal amongst the recruiters.
Yeah, he takes a lot of the training Monday to Friday, Dean Cox, and a really sharp football mind, outstanding person, very, very down to earth, and he is taking more and more responsibility for this football club, which is really nice to see.
Okay, we have a bid pending here on Sam Mitchell, who is linked to the Brisbane Lions through their academy. Sam Marshall there with the Brisbane Lions.
And they won't take too long to match the bid here. In fact, they'd be rapt that he slipped through a few more spots than he could have. Sam Marshall, who, again, an All-Australian player, his running ability's elite. You look at the CV, best on the ground in the Coach Talent League Grand Final too. A fraction better than Levi Ashcroft. They were the 2 best players on the ground. And he's been building his game down at Sandringham. Comes from up on the Gold Coast, or in Queensland, the far north Queensland, or a boy that moved down to school here to pursue his football and his studies, and is part of the Lions Academy.
And it feels like Brisbane Lions have done really well out of these points because they get the players that they wanted, of course, but they've still got pick 57, and they might be taking another pick. You mentioned off the top shifter that maybe that means now they can look at a player tomorrow night in the second round, really sit there after this and assess their options and get a third pick. So they've done pretty well out of this, Brisbane.
He's a very, very astute user of the footy, Sam Marshall. I love his ability to get from contest to contest. He's a natural ball winner, and like you touched on, Joey, I mean, to still retain pick 57 out of this, they've done very, very well, the Brisbane Lions, and they just continue to add to a cachet of outstanding mids, don't they?
I mean, Joey reeled off the names earlier in the night. It is a ridiculously good midfield, as you would expect of the reigning premiers, and now they're building the next generation.
Well, I've said it was tough for Ashcroft to get into the side next year, let alone now Sam Marshall, who really could probably walk into maybe 13 other clubs starting 22 next year, but he might have to bide his time, as we said, natural ball winner, who used it really well. Sort of similar type to Jasper Fletcher, who they've already got, really classy, clever, high IQ, wins the ball, so... Yeah, Chris Fagan just continues to bring them in, and you think they'd continue to be a contender.
We just saw Fags there with the congratulations handshake, and what a moment for the young man, and to know that you're going along with another midfield star. We just see successful teams when you can get a group of players together. It seems to be the recipe.
Yeah, and you touched on it before, Sarah. I mean, that's exactly what the Brisbane Lions have done with their Vic Country cohort of McCluggage and Berry and... You know, these sorts of guys that have come through. Josh Dunkley's another one that's been added to the mix. They tend to all stick together. Even a Cam Rayner that came through a National Academy program, they tend to stick together. They've built an unbelievable empire up there, and they're looking dangerous for the next few years, the Brisbane Lions.
And you can see Riley Sanders in amongst them there too, a boy from the Sandringham Dragons, drafted last year, of course, and played some terrific games for the Western Bulldogs in his first year. So those boys remain tight. Harry Sheasel we've seen over the back, another boy that's come through that program and been such a brilliant player for North Melbourne as well.
It's great to see how invested players get now. I mean, that wouldn't have happened a long time ago to have players come out to the draft to support their new teammate and really just, you know, get them going right from day one and let them know that they are heavily invested. And players are taking more of an interest in not just their own careers but the club as well, and wanting the club to succeed. And we're seeing that. We're seeing players like Zach Butters, I think we mentioned earlier, that was in the recruiting room with his team. So it's really nice to see.
We are just waiting for the bid to officially be matched. I don't think they've quite hit the button yet, Joey, so it's not official, but waiting for the Brisbane Lions to match the bid from the Sydney Swans.
They're not just trying to get the hopes of the Sydney Swans up, are they, Joey?
Sam Marshall just got a little bit nervous for half a second there. He's now just thinking, hang on a minute.
How does this work?
But no, the Brisbane Lions, they're in great shape. I mean, we know that it's going to be an issue with the key forward of losing Joe Danaher, so whether tomorrow night at pick 57 they might have a smoky down the back end of a key position player they can take a punt on. That's a bit of a sort of low risk, high reward sort of scenario. But in regards to their midfield and what they've built with the players they have and they've brought in, they're going to continue to be pretty potent, and they've got players coming back from injury next season. So it's going to be hard to knock off the Lions in 2025.
The AFL would be behind the scenes just ticking off the points, ticking it off officially with its discount as to the effect it might have on their ability to actually have another selection later on tomorrow night. Here we go.
With pick 25, the Brisbane Lions have selected Sam Marshall from the Sandy Dragons, Brisbane Lions Academy and the Kowana Park Australian Junior Football Club.
To present the jumper for Brisbane, please welcome Chris Johnson.
There we go. Now it's official. He's got the Brisbane Lions jumper in his hands, and Sam Marshall is a Brisbane line joining Levi Ashcroft at the reigning premiers, who look to get only stronger.
Yeah, and the advantage they have to these academy boys, they've trained at the club, they've trained and they know most of these players, so that really does give them an advantage as well, that they would be familiar with the program at the Brisbane Lions, and that's why they're more likely to be able to step in and be ready-made, because they understand the game plan, know a lot of the players, and feel more comfortable walking into pre-season day one. So they'll step straight into training when the Brisbane Lions boys are back and put their best foot forward, and they're going to challenge some players, some players that are already established in the senior team. They want to be on their game and not have a bit of a premiership hangover, because there's going to be some young, hungry players, and these are two really professional kids that are going to want to make their mark straight away.
Talking about astute users, we saw Chris Johnson there handing the jumper over. There won't see many better than him in the game. So if young Sam can have a career half as good as what Chris Johnson had, I think he'll be very, very happy.
All right, let's head back to Marvel Stadium and Ben Dixon.
Sam, a bit of a nervous one there. They took their time to press the buzzer. Everyone was celebrating. You've looked up and had a double take.
Yeah, no, it was a bit, but I'm just glad they matched at the end, and really grateful to be joining the Brisbane Lions. So yeah.
Big move. You're Lions Academy, but to move from Queensland to Melbourne, go to Melbourne Grammar, schooling there must have been a big move.
Yeah, it was a big move. Especially I didn't really know anyone in Victoria or anything like that. So joining I guess going to Melbourne Grammar in year 10 and. Yeah, doing 3 years of school, really enjoyed, and also being part of the Sandringham Dragons program and all that. So, I really enjoyed those programs, and I think it was good building. Good for my just building into it. So it was good.
You got best on ground in the granny too, so that was nice to finish the year off. But you spent a couple of weeks pre-season at the Lions. How'd you find that experience?
Yeah, that was really good. Spent a bit of time with Hugh McCluggage and Jackson Pryor. So. Spent a bit of time at their house, and and just the training as well. It was a really good experience, just getting that senior experience and just playing with those bigger bodies as well. So I really enjoyed it.
Did you go to the granny?
No, I didn't, but I definitely watched it on the TV. Yeah, it was great to see them get the win. So it was awesome.
Folks couldn't spare you one ticket?
No, I was pretty sick that week, so I was just watching on the bed really. And
you're known as the running man. Is that for speed or is that endurance?
I don't know, probably endurance more like it,
Well, you're going to have a fun time in Brisbane. They've obviously won the premiership and they're going to bolster their list tonight with the draft, and well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Congratulations to Sam, headed to the reigning premiers, the Brisbane Lions, and a special moment for that young man as we look to the Sydney Swans at pick number 26. So they did put a bid in on Sam, and now they get to assess who is left on the draft board. And in a draft that is so deep, there is still some incredible talent left there, Mick.
Yeah, there is, as we've seen on the board. I mean, there's two big fellas that are touching on 200 centimetres, that, they'll be waiting for their opportunity. In the Whitlock boys, there's Alex Dodson, who's the number one ruckman in this year's draft. And look, we all know that clubs generally pick those off at some stage. Joey, we spoke about it a little bit earlier. They wait for them to develop at another club generally and pick them off. But you could certainly do a lot worse than Alex Dodson, that's for sure.
So we wait to see what the Sydney Swans are doing here. They've got some great football minds in that room there, haven't they, Joey?
They
do you have a look at the likes of Leon Cameron? We spoke about Dean Cox before, but
Kenny Beatson
is such an experienced recruiter. This is a gun team.
Certainly been in discussion, but I feel like they'll keep the pick. I think they need to continue to replenish and take another player in. They might have fielded some phone calls again. There's been a lot of talk, as we said earlier, about clubs wanting to get into this first round and potentially offering future firsts and all these sorts of things. But as we've seen, shifted as we maybe expected because of the quality of this top end, that the clubs haven't been interested in trading out of these picks and really want to be able to take some names into 2025 with them.
Well, there's only just a couple of picks left, and the clubs will be really getting excited now about tomorrow. The other clubs, the ones that haven't participated yet, probably can't believe what they're seeing, some of the quality of boys that are going to slip through. So I think they'll be burning the candle tonight as they check over their order for tomorrow.
With pick 26, the Sydney Swans have selected Ned Bowman from Norwood and the Orroroo Football Club.
So we've got another bolter tonight. We've had a few of them, Shifter, and this guy is from South Australia.
Yeah, and sometimes you need to do something brilliant to catch attention. This boy took arguably the mark of the year at any level. It was at Colts level for Norwood early in the year. He stood on their shoulders. That was super special. Then it was a game in the National Championships against WA where he kicked 3. He was a half-back, he could play wing, lightly built, rather gifted, but then he went forward and kicked 3 in pretty special fashion. And those little glimpses sometimes are enough for you to go back and have a look at the way he then finished his year. So it's sometimes that thin slice is enough for them to project that this boy has got that talent and that poise to play AFL. That's smart recruiting. So those national games didn't dominate. He's a St Peter's College boy, but together with his games at Norwood, he's shown enough for the Swans to pick him.
A bit of a highlight, really, isn't he? Sort of just does some special things. Probably got to still work on his consistency, but he's able to create something out of nothing, find some goals, take some marks. So interesting that Sydney have gone with the 2 forwards, so Detoli and now Bowman. So maybe they feel that is an area that they need to address a bit more X factor, despite having Papley and Haywood. And we know that the midfielders kicked a lot of goals for them this year. Gordon, Warner, Heaney did a lot of the heavy lifting, but they've topped up their forward half and got someone in who's got some pretty special traits.
We had him ranked at pick number 89. He's gone 26. That is a huge jump. So congratulations, Ned.
I think that would maybe be off the back of his numbers. The numbers don't jump off the page. He's not a huge sort of possession getter and kicking huge volumes of goals, but what he does do is pretty creative and pretty special. So maybe there's someone they think there's a lot of talent there to work with and might take a bit of time. But as we said, a bit like the Giants earlier, the Sydney Swans, they've got a bit of time. They're in a position where, they can be patient with some of these project players.
Yeah, you're right, Joey. He's got a good turn of speed in the contest as well. He's not too dissimilar to Tolley in his awareness and his vision. And he was just one of those players to me that when I watched him play, he showed genuine AFL traits, and you just sort of sat there going, I reckon this can transfer pretty quickly to the next level. And clearly the Sydney Swans group and Kinnear Beatson and the like thought along very, very similar lines.
I think
Hartlett's
considering a trade, there's no doubt about it.
Is this the last
pick of round one?
Another club has gone, well, okay, there's someone here that I want, and I can't wait till tomorrow. I want to do it now.
I believe it could be, we think it's North Melbourne.
North Melbourne, yep.
And Joey, the thinking
would be a
tall forward.
I think so. They need some support for Nick Larkey, absolutely. Charlie Comben could play forward or back. I think they might settle on him being an elite defender. We saw how good he was as an interceptor. But if they could get one of the Whitlock boys or Shanahan, I think they'd be pretty pumped. It's just pick 27. Are they prepared to give up their future 1? I mean, that's a lot. Their future 1 pick next year could still be a top 5 pick. Yeah. So this is now the opportunity for Richmond. If Richmond can walk away from tonight with the hand they've got and get North Melbourne's future 1, I'm not sure what it looks like where they have to do some other pick swaps, but this is what we potentially thought could happen at the start of the night, where the Tigers could really not only get this year but also get themselves in a strong position for next year's draft.
Surely the Kangas don't give up a future first, do they? I mean, I'd sit there now and go, you can imagine them giving up a future second. It's almost a like for like. The Tigers are sitting here going, we've got what we wanted out of tonight. We're happy to invest next year. But, I'd be absolutely astounded if the Kangas are going to give up a first-round pick.
Well, it gets back to where they'd have
how high they
these boys on the board. If they've got them up in their top 10 or 12, they'd be debating, well, gee, he's well worth it from our point of view. We had him very, very high up. So that's how clubs see things differently.
And there's no doubt they need support.
Yeah, and at some point they've got to start to accelerate this rebuild. So they could hold on to their picks for next year, but then you're 12 months down the track, and maybe they're saying, hey, we need to get a key forward in to support Nick Larkey that, hopefully in 3 years is really a part of the finals push. And if they do rate one of those key forwards high on the board, then maybe you just do it. And it is a big risk. I get it, Mick, but sometimes you've got to be bold with these strategies, and that's what they're discussing right now, I'm sure.
And back that they're going to climb up the ladder a bit, and that first-round pick won't be
outside the top 10 would be ideal for them.
A bit further down.
And with academies and all those sorts of things, so it looks like the trade is done. We'll find out exactly what it is, but North Melbourne will get the last pick. So they have given their future 1, but have got back pick 20, the future 2. So they've swapped the future 1 for a future 2. Is that right?
Yeah. So they give up their first round pick, which I think is amazing. They get Richmond's pick 27, obviously, tonight, and a future second rounder, Joey. So, geez, that's a brave move by the Kangas. It'll be interesting to see who they've got in mind.
Richmond have traded pick 27 with North Melbourne. North Melbourne is now on the clock.
So that's not the trade.
So the trade has been done officially, and now North Melbourne are on the clock, so they've got that time to pick. But clearly they had someone in mind, and we suspect it's either Job Shanahan or one of the Whitlocks in Matt.
Well, we're presuming that, but we don't know for sure.
No,
we've seen a few bolters in the last few picks, and unless there's someone else, you wouldn't have thought so. You would think that the talk coming into tonight that North Melbourne were in the mix to try and get back into this draft to get a tall forward. Maybe they're surprised that these players are still on the board this late, that they've been able to not just only give away their future one, but being able to get a future two back in return. So, if they do slide up the ladder and Richmond finish down the bottom as expected, it might only be sliding back, 10 to 12 spots in next year's draft, which they're willing to do to try and get the player that they want and continue their rebuild, because we know they're stacked in the midfield. We spoke about it earlier, absolutely loaded through the midfield and the half-back and wings and half-forward lines. I like Charlie Comben as a defender. As we said, if they can just get someone else to support Nick Larkey, that can accelerate this rebuild.
Gee whiz, if it is one of the Whitlocks, how's the family going to feel being the final pick of the night?
Yeah.
One of your sons goes and
The other one has to wait.
You've got to go to bed and wait 24 hours to do it all over again. So if it does go down that path, good luck to them.
With pick 27, North Melbourne select Matt Whitlock. The Murray Bush Rangers and the Shepparton Football Netball Club.
To present the jumper for North Melbourne, please welcome Andrew Swallow.
So big emotions there for the Whitlock family. Matt Whitlock taken a pick 27 to North Melbourne after they traded with Richmond. Jack still waits. We expect him to be picked up tomorrow, so he had to have a little hug from mum and dad there, but the moment belongs to Matt. Holds the jumper up there. Fantastic. And Matt's listed there as a key forward, but crucially, he can swing back.
Yeah, he played both ends of the ground. So Jack was probably the more fancied of the two to go tonight, and Matt probably some chance, maybe tomorrow. That was the mindset coming in. So Jack, the tall forward, in the main has been overlooked for the swing man, the one that, on occasions went forward and kicked a couple of bags of 5 goals.
Well, it's like what Ben King did, didn't he? A number of years ago, started as a defender and made himself a household name as a forward.
Yep, he's 198 centimetres, so they're 6'6", this boy, and runs like a wingman. So he's a very gifted athlete, still unfolding. I was wrapped in their development this year, those two boys, and quite amazed to see them there in the mid-20s.
All right, that's Jack there. We can see on screen. Dicko has tracked down Matt. Dicko, he must be incredibly happy.
Oh, he's very happy, Matt, but he's also shedding a little tear as well. Your brother Jack, he's going to have to wait another 24 hours, but it's a hard watch, isn't it, Matt? You're sitting here with your family and finally the last pick of the night and it's you.
No, it's unreal. I'm just glad it's done.
And just talk it through. I mean, an emotional. We saw Jack getting emotional, and your twin brother. Like, you do everything together. So there's no doubt there's some disappointment. But like I said, tomorrow night it's his chance.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he'll be the first pick tomorrow night, hopefully. So I'll be excited as him for him.
Growing up, I chatted to mum and dad off the top. 80 acres. Like, there's plenty of room there to play any sport. And when you chose football, you obviously went pretty hard at it.
Yeah, no, it's been unreal. It's been an unreal journey, really. So the support here, especially with the family and friends. So it's just been unreal. And so happy to be here, especially at North. Couldn't be happier.
It's a good club, and you're going to the big Souvlaki in the forward line. You're going to settle up there beautifully. But you've done a lot separately. You've tried to separate yourselves. You never dressed the same. You got different haircuts. Mum did 2 birthday cakes. You never wanted to share anything with him, did you?
Yeah, no, obviously we're twins, but I feel like we're still best friends. So yeah, it's been a real journey.
Well, you come tomorrow night, you support your brother. Well done. You're a kangaroo. Thank you. Cheers.
Awesome stuff. Congratulations to Matt Whitlock, who heads to the North Melbourne Football Club. He's just catching his breath. Such an emotional night for these young men, and such pressure and stress going in. And we'll wait. I'm sure Jack will be picked up nice and early on night 2. Of course, we'll be here on Fox Footy with that all unfolding. We're going to have a wrap of the entire first round after this short break. But first, gosh, the cricket test begins on Friday over in Perth, Australia and India, and it is going to be massive.
India are passionate, ruthless, relentless. They've become the powerhouse of world cricket.